So we are up on the YouTube side as well. We will be starting soon. First things first, I do have a slight announcement to make. Well, it's going to be a bigger announcement because the idea is I will start streaming earlier in the day. After streaming yesterday and being hit with a big case of the sleepies after like an hour, I realized, hey, maybe streaming late at night isn't going to be the best for me, you know, outside of sumo, because I get a proper nap between work and stream. But at the very least, regular schedule, I decided that I will start streaming 4 hours earlier than I usually do at 10 o'clock. I said I wanted to start streaming at 9, but even then, that's not really enough time. Plus, because Princess is going to be working until 10 p.m., I figure if we did want any time with each other, it would make sense that I stream for, like, you know, the time that she doesn't need, or you know what I'm saying, like the time I can't be with her, I should be streaming instead of the time that I could be with her. So I'm going to be shifting my schedule ahead by quite a while, because, you know, if I did start streaming at what did I say, 6 p.m. Central Time, then that would give me a lot more time to stream, you know, like up until 10 or 11 or 12. That would be a longer stream. It would be more content. That would be good content. And, you know, other than the Sumo Saturdays where, you know, I do the breakdowns, I could probably get through multiple breakdowns if that's the case. I would just have to divide up the stream VODs between or later or whatever. But you know what I'm saying. That is the idea behind the schedule change, because I figured, again, I can stream for 3-4 hours, then, you know, the 2 hours I have with Princess before we inevitably go to bed, I will be spending time with her, whether it's watching a movie or if she wants to join stream and play a game, I don't know, but that is the general idea. As well as, you know, that's not going to affect the sumo schedule. The sumo schedule is going to be the same as it always is, because I can't really change for sumo. But that is what is going to be happening. I'm going to be starting my streams at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time instead of the usual 10, or at the very least this past week, around 9:30. Let me get the other times. That would be 11 p.m. UTC, so I'd be able to catch those night owl Europeans, and 8 a.m. Japanese time. So I hope the change works for a lot of people, and I hope it can capture a much wider audience too, because that is part of it. I want to be able to try to capture more people with my content, and then convert them into sumo watching fanatics to screw up their sleep schedule. So that is what we're leading with right now as we move into the meat and the potatoes of today's subject, which, hold on, I'm using the wrong overlay. No, I wasn't using the wrong overlay. Hold on. Display capture. There we go. So, the sumo. Let me turn off the music on the Twitch side. And for some reason, I am not showing up. What is happening? This is scuffed. Audio, or avatar, there we go. And then display capture. Hold on. This is a little scuffed right now. I messed something up along the way. There we go. And then display capture. There we go. Okay. So let's do it like this. So we will be breaking down Wakatakakage, his 11 wins this past tournament. Fantastic 11 wins. I did not expect 11 wins out of him, considering he started off 0-3. Spoiler alert for those of you who are unaware. Speaking of which, let me pull up that Sumo DB so we can actually get the schedule of who he fought against every single day of the tournament. But, you know, his first 3 days did not look good at all, which is why I was like, oh, okay, he might go he might go 8-7 again, which is definitely not bad. You know, we had Nosho who would consistently go 8-7. Abi usually goes consistently 8-7. So to see Wakatakakage go 8-7, like, you know, I'm not too broken up by that kind of thing. But then he really turned it around, went on a huge win streak, and then finished it off with the double digits that he will definitely need if he wants to, you know, make his way into that rank of Ozeki. So, for this first match, we have Wakatakakage versus Kotonowaka. And these are two guys that I'm really high on. Like, you know how much I like Kotonowaka. You know how much I like Wakatakakage. I really like both of these guys, and in a perfect world, they will both be Yokozuna. Maybe that will happen soon. But we're going to be talking about Wakatakakage. Someone in my Discord actually mentioned, do you think he can get like 14-1 or 13-2 and, you know, get a Yusho to make his way up to Ozeki? Because that's kind of what Shodai did. I think, yes, it could happen before the end of the year. And he won't have to wait until January for that to be decided. But he really needs to clean up his act on these first 3 days, because this is not the first time he has stumbled in the first 3 days. At the last tournament, he lost his first 2. At the tournament in May, he lost on day 2. The tournament in January, before he even made Sekiwake, he lost his first 4. So, in general, his first 5 days, his first trimester of the tournament, is where he eats most of his losses, at the very least in this top division. So, we see it very consistently ever since he initially made it up to Maegashira 1 back in November of 2020. His last 5 matches were all wins. Then he was out for COVID. Then again, his last, how many is that? His last 9 matches, he was 8-1. So that's really good. Again, in May of 2021, he was, 4-3 in those last 7 days. That's second week. Not as strong, but, you know, still pretty strong. Later on, you have September, November, and January of, 2021 going into 2022. He wins 5 straight, 6 straight, 5 straight in that last push. So he's very clearly good in that long run, at the very least, looking at these recent results. Even in his poor showing at Sekiwake last tournament, he was an even 3-3 across, the final 3 days, 4-4, or 3-3 across the final 6 days, 4-4 across the final 8 days. So he has a very good win rate when it comes to the final few days. And the last time he won each of his first 3 matches, he won the Yusho, 12-3 Yusho, all the way back in March. Fantastic tournament, debut at Sekiwake, and he's only been putting up winning records since. So, really good stuff for him. That last, he might have made Ozeki already if that last tournament wasn't a stumble. Like, if he got 12 wins in July, then that would have been the 33 plus the Yusho that he might have needed. But that ship has sailed already. He went 8-7. Now he has to try to start again, but with 13 or maybe even 14 wins and the Yusho, you could argue he gets Ozeki. And it looks like they are hurting for Ozeki at the very top of the Banzuke. But this is something that we can talk about later, maybe in another video, because that was another idea I had of, just putting these thoughts out there about how the future might be shaped by these sumo wrestlers in a more roundabout way, just chatting type of way where, we bullshit and waste time leading up to the top divisions. Might as well do that in between Basho as well. So, Wakatakakage versus Kotonowaka here on day 1. Kotonowaka, like I said, one of my favorites. Wakatakakage, another one of my favorites. The format of these breakdowns is going to be we watch it at full speed, and then after watching it at full speed and kind of talking through it, we'll go by step by step by step and see exactly what's happening at the slower range to get to the point that it gets to. So, Wakatakakage versus Kotonowaka. Kotonowaka wins via Oshidashi. Let's see how it gets there. Wakatakakage gets the better charge, but Kotonowaka catches him and locks him up, kind of slides Wakatakakage up the chest. And you can kind of see that here. He's grabbing underneath those triceps and trying to pull Wakatakakage up his own chest so he can get that chest to chest. Wakatakakage trying to stay low doesn't really work as well as he would hope, because Kotonowaka kind of just picks him up by the arms. And a little bit slower. For future reference, the colors are going to be blue for Wakatakakage and pink for whoever his opponents are. So, we see right off the Tachi-ai, and this is the last time we did a Wakatakakage breakdown. You have big left foot forward, right foot back to the side, surface area, so there's less, friction, or there's more friction rather to push up against, and he doesn't get driven back. And he has really nice double inside on the chest. He's not going immediately for the belt because Kotonowaka catches him. He knows that this is the Tachi-ai that's coming, and you can see it himself. Big left foot for him. He's got the same thing going on with his back foot, except he's up on his tippy toes a little bit and doesn't have his foot flat on the ground like he would want, like Wakatakakage has. So that's why initially Kotonowaka, struggles a little bit on this backwards push. We can see it in this frame right here. Kotonowaka, his legs are kind of straight here, and his back being tilted forward like this means his center of gravity is, above this position. So if Wakatakakage were to pull, he would just go down with it. But Wakatakakage instead pushes. And from this position, again, Wakataka tries to get these arms inside, and he's going to swing this foot around to try to, get his body square against his opponent again. But even after that, Kotonowaka is retreating. You can see he's pulling his hips back. He's pulling back. His feet are going backwards. He's maintaining this grip around Wakatakakage's arms, because that's where he knows he's going to be able to lift up from. Wakatakakage on that push forward still has a good stance here, and we can't exactly see what's going on that far side that the Gyoji has good eyes on. Look at him. Boop, boop, boop. He's got that perfect angle. But as far as what we can see going on right now, we have Wakatakakage trying to dive in for the belt, and Kotonowaka stopping that with that left arm outside. And what you usually see happen in this situation is they pull up that left arm so that that right arm, so it gets caught up in the armpit, and they lock it that way away from the belt. But Kotonowaka doesn't need to do that at this point, because he's more stabilizing his stance. Like you can see this big right foot sticking out, that big left foot back in a good position. Again, Wakatakakage also has really good base here. Again, that foot, the surface area, the big left foot leading forward. They have the fundamentals between these guys are really good. And that's why I'm so excited about both of them. But from this position, honestly, if you were to just show me this freeze frame and ask who wins, I would say Wakatakakage, because he has, more leverage inside and on the chest, which means he can push Kotonowaka up and try to get that hand to the belt. But what Kotonowaka does here is he stands himself up and shifts forward in a way that doesn't allow Waka to get that belt immediately. You can see this if I advance it just a little bit further. Oh, not subtitle track. There we go. He's pushing forward and taking a big, wide stance. Like, look at how wide this stance is from Kotonowaka. Even when Wakatakakage does eventually lock in the grip on this belt, Kotonowaka's stance is superb. He is an immovable wall, and he's moving forward at you. So Wakatakakage's only answer is to try to push back and play the defense on the edge. You can see his foot is catching the Tawada down here. Kotonowaka is just kind of just staying square. I was going to say it looks like he might be trying to drive the shoulders down, but he's just staying square and a little bit askew so that Wakatakakage can't grab the vital inside right. So when Kotonowaka pushes forward like that, Wakatakakage has to back up, and from here, Kotonowaka has the simple push out. Wakataka, again, great defensive stance, but his opponent is just as good as he is. So Kotonowaka getting a really quick win right there. Even though Wakatakakage, like I said, had a good start and, you know, even in this loss looked pretty good, it was not being able to take a bigger advantage of that inside push. Because you can see he slipped back when Kotonowaka started pushing, and then after that slip, you know, not of his own volition, like watch that left foot, it's sliding, that big slide across the dohyo. You're gonna see it really clearly when I point it out here. Just watch his left foot right here, and then whoop, you could actually see the skid mark in the dirt. It goes from here all the way back to where his foot is, so he just didn't have traction, and that's how he got pushed back. So from there, Kotonowaka was able to convert that into a solid win. If Wakatakakage keeps his footing there, then these two guys are still fighting, obviously, and they're trying to wrestle for control in the middle of the ring. So, you know, Terutsuyoshi hasn't been on the dohyo for a long time. You gotta wonder why, is it all assault on there, or what? But, you know, first loss for Wakatakakage. Can't really fault him for it too much. He fought well, his opponent fought very well, and his next match is going to be up against Meisei, if we can get there. That is the Ozeki, who he does not fight. Let's see, that's Tamawashi versus Daisho, who is also a Sekiwake. I actually forgot about him. And here we go, Wakatakakage and Meisei. So, I like to think that there's a bit of a rivalry between these two, because when Meisei and Wakatakakage kind of made it up together, it seemed like Meisei was going to be the one to succeed more, because Meisei got his winning record at his debut at Komusubi, whereas Wakatakakage went 5-10. And, you know, how the tables have turned. Meisei went 1-14 from Maegashira 3 in March. But I thought there would be a little bit of a rivalry between these two because they debuted at Komusubi at the same time. And since then, you know, I can't say there's really any heat between them. And, you know, they're just two really good, solid sumo wrestlers. Here, it's, you know, Wakatakakage, the better Sekiwake than Meisei was against Meisei, who made it there first. And that's kind of the storyline I want to write up for them. But here we go, Wakatakakage versus Meisei. Coming into this next match, Death Note's a great one. Meisei with the better charge, but Wakatakakage recovering, nearly gets slapped down, and Meisei using that momentum to push him out of the ring. So, what does Wakatakakage do wrong here? Again, the answer might be not that much. Because right off the Tachi-ai, we'll watch it at full speed a few more times. Right off the Tachi-ai, Meisei simply gets the better push, and then it was one of those things where the flow of battle dictates how it's going to go. So I'll explain it when we get there. Meisei gets the better charge. We could see Wakatakakage took that big left foot first, but he's getting turned by Meisei's charge. Meisei is diving around from the side and pushing him up this way, which is exactly how Wakatakakage stances himself up. You could see in the way he's getting pushed, his feet line up in such a way that it's like, if I were to draw it out the other way, basically a standing piece of paper. Like that's his foot, this is his head. The rest of his body is all facing the same way, so it's easy to push him over. And that's kind of what Meisei is doing here. Meisei is attacking the angle where it's going to be easier to push him over because, again, even in our last video and in every match since then, he leads with that big left foot. So attack where he's going to be easier to move. And right off the Tachi-ai, he gets scooched backwards. He loses his Tachi-ai. His foot goes from here all the way back here, and Meisei now is the one in control. Wakataka has a hand to the chest and is probably trying to parry with that inside left, but we can't really tell from this angle. While Meisei, he has powerful right hand straight to the collarbone, and then this left hand is keeping Wakatakakage's right inside, and I think is like floating for an opportunity to either attack or defend. So Meisei already has fantastic stance, has forward momentum, and the momentum is what's going to carry this match. And it's part of the reason why sumo wrestlers will say that, 90% of the match is won at the Tachi-ai, because you're going to see right here, Meisei pushing forward, Wakatakakage, he has to pull himself back and then push forward again. Kind of like those big windmill strikes that you see from Abi, where he pulls back the arm and pushes and pulls back the arm and pushes again. Wakatakakage is doing that. He's reeling back and he's going to push forward with his entire body. Not as aggressively as Takayasu, of course, but he is pushing forward with his body. Where Meisei here, he's resisting that push forward by getting this left hand up inside to the shoulder, to the chest, and that right hand, I have to assume, is also, up on the chest. Throwing a bit of tsupari back and forth, and again, this is where they go full-on head-to-head, pushing into each other, and this is where Meisei gets a much larger advantage. It's subtle from this angle, but you can see Meisei hand on the neck, and then Wakatakakage, his hand outside on the shoulder, and up inside getting caught by the left outside of Meisei. That big right hand to the upper body is what's going to give Meisei the win here, because he's exerting a lot of pressure forward. Wakatakakage, resisting that pressure, is pushing against Meisei. And when Meisei releases this, Wakatakakage is going to stumble forward, and that's when Meisei takes advantage of the attack. We're going to see it right there. Exactly what I was talking about. He lets Wakatakakage fall, stumble forward, and then from here, that's all she wrote, basically. Meisei has a lot of momentum pushing Wakatakakage forward and out of the ring. And that really is the pivotal moment right there. Letting Wakatakakage fall and stumble just in the blink of an eye. Just pushes him a little bit off to the side so that the charge doesn't come through him. And Meisei with a nice deflection right here. That's a good win for Meisei. Wakatakakage, if there's anything he can learn from that match, it's that he needs to exercise a bit of restraint even when on the defense. And that's really hard to do because you don't know if your opponent is going to keep pushing forward and push you all the way back, or let that exact same thing happen where they push you to the side and let you stumble forward. So really difficult for Wakatakakage to read what's going to happen next. But, a worse looking loss than yesterday. He didn't look as good as he did yesterday in that loss against Kotonowaka. Next up, his opponent is going to be Kiribayama, who he has a losing head-to-head against. It is 4-7 in Kiribayama's favor. It was 6 before this basho, as soon as it wants to load up. So, skipping right to it perfectly because I'm just so good at that kind of thing. Kiribayama and Wakatakakage. Kiribayama had a pretty good tournament of his own at Komusubi, 9-6. Had to defeat a couple of strong opponents to get there, although he loses to the Yokozuna more often than not. Rather, all the time. But his opponent today, another man of a similar stature in Wakatakakage, who he seems to have the upper hand against. They're both quite young. 26 for Kiribayama. He's younger than me. I'm old. I mean, sure, like 10 years from now, I'm going to be saying that about all the sumo wrestlers, but like, damn. He's 26. Kiribayama and Wakatakakage. Big left foot forward from Wakatakakage, slides back at the Tachi-ai yet again. Kiribayama catches him with a better grip under the arms. And that, I think, again, is the pivotal thing right at the Tachi-ai. Wakatakakage loses a lot of that momentum because of that left foot forward slipping, and Kiribayama taking advantage with a quick grab under the arm after some really good Oshizumo to throw Wakatakakage off balance. So slow, play-by-play-ish. We'll see again. Wakataka, boom, big left foot, and it's already slipping. Before I even paused, it's slipping backwards. So he's losing ground already off of the Tachi-ai. And because of this, Kiribayama pushes forward. It's as simple as that. Kiribayama pushes forward, and he opens up with a lot of good Oshizumo. Straight to the face, attacking the outside, which is going to, come back in and go up to the chest and face. Kiribayama doing a really good job. That forward stance, he is clearly moving forward, and Wakatakakage does not have a good defensive stance, especially against this kind of thing. You want a little bit more forward lean against an Oshizumo, whereas he's like up here right now. You want to be a little bit more forward leaning against it so you can withstand the attacks a bit more and have your shoulders forward so in the off chance you can grab the belt. But Kiribayama is smarter than that. Or rather, not really, because he almost does give up that grab. Wakatakakage, you can see, almost gets that grab on the belt, and if he does, then he's able to pull Kiribayama in and go at his own pace. But because Kiribayama, you can see this left forearm and left elbow kind of primed to just nudge that away, push that away, he's gonna take a step back and create that distance and continue to pummel Wakatakakage's head. Because of that, Wakatakakage, classic Oshizumo victim, gets disoriented, can barely mount a defense, can't even mount an attack against it, and that's when Kiribayama, it got a little bit jumbled up right there, but that's when Kiribayama dives in for the grip under the arms. So right here, this is where Kiribayama takes the step back to make sure Wakataka can't grab the belt, pushes him back up, and then immediately, like he sees the opening right here, boom, slap to the side of the head to push Wakatakakage in a favorable position up, because he's pushing him away that way, so he can't get the outside right on the belt, and he sneaks this arm up under the armpit so now he can lift up Wakataka and start manipulating his body. He gets the right hand inside at the same time too, which if you're against an opponent that's the same size of you, you don't want that Morozashi grip. You don't want the double outside. You just don't win with that. And Kiribayama pretty much dominating this entire match from this point. Just pushes forward, and you don't really need to break it down. It's a double inside against a dude the same size as you. If you don't win that, then that's I can't even find the words to describe how stupid that would be. But that is another loss for Wakatakakage, who starts off 0-3. And that is pretty much all of his losses until day 12. Or rather, that is all of his losses until day 12. So from here on out, we're going to see more of the good Wakatakakage showing up. So Kiribayama putting on a pretty good win right there. Sekiwake's next opponent is going to be Midorifuji, who is also his first victim of the tournament. Sadanoumi, Ura, Daisho. That reminds me of let's see. It is Daisho Ichinojo next, and then Kiribayama Hoshoryu. And then it is Wakatakakage versus Midorifuji. Midorifuji performed a lot better than I thought he would. That's all I will give him at this tournament. I want to see him get that consistency and come back up to Maegashira 1, definitely though. No, I'm not doing the Tochinoshin breakdown because it's just going to be, oh, he lost. How you doing, Molotov? Let's see. Wakatakakage versus Midorifuji. Wakataka slipping on that left foot again, going on the defense, but this time he actually manages to push forward despite taking a big slap. Midorifuji having the better initial push. Now he nearly gets pulled down by the arm there. Wakataka slapping him to the side. And that just looked like more dominance, more experience in the ring. Midorifuji didn't seem to know how to handle the attack. And if we watch it again at full speed, we can see Wakatakakage, even though he's the one getting pushed back, he seems cool, and although not in full control, no, he's got some really good footwork. Like, look at him hopping around, look at him shuffling his feet, big step forward, keeping that center underneath him as he gets the big swing down on Midorifuji. A slip or a fucked up pull in the middle just before the end? Not sure, but we will get to that. Wakatakakage starts off, and again, I mentioned it at full speed. You're going to see it again here. This left foot is going to slide back. He has no traction on this foot so far this tournament, and Midorifuji has a really good stance for charging. He has this good stance, double inside. He's like spearing at the chest as he brings the head down too. Really good form in this charge. Stance, feet a little too far behind him. He doesn't do the big step like Wakatakakage does. So not having those feet underneath him, he might have been able to win right off of the Tachi if he was able to push a little bit harder. Because you see there, Midorifuji switched his footing. He had the left foot forward and pushed it back, and then the right foot forward and pushed it back, then the left foot forward, left foot back, and pulled it forward. So that little switch of footing right there takes away a lot of the momentum he had, but he still has favorable position here. He's kind of got under the arm of Wakatakakage, so now this right arm, unless Wakataka retreats and then pulls back, that's going to be a useless right arm. And then the right arm for a Midorifuji, you can kind of see it, is being wrestled with inside. He's trying to go for the belt across the belly and down inside. So Midorifuji, better position right here, just trying to find that more proper footing for himself. And you can see Wakataka, he also switches his footing up. He brings this right foot back, left foot forward to try to get a more advantageous stance against Midorifuji. But it doesn't really work because he just slips all the way back. And if Midorifuji just takes a step back, Wakatakakage goes plop right onto the ground. But because Midorifuji feels the momentum pushing this way, he keeps pushing that way. You can see his feet are going forward, and he's got great stance. He's all squared up and ready to go. But seriously, if he just lets Wakatakakage fall here, or if he goes for the pull right here, Waka loses very easily. So the fact that he gives Wakatakakage that quick second he needs to stand back up and get those feet underneath him, that's a huge missed opportunity for Midorifuji. Midorifuji getting wrestled with back in the middle of the ring, and it just looks like he doesn't have the power to push Wakatakakage straight back. Like, that big slip was Midorifuji's best opportunity so far. Stands a little wide as he tries to take a step forward. You can see his right foot even slips back a little bit. He gets a big slap to the face of Wakataka, but I don't think that's too much of an issue. And just in this freeze frame alone, look at this guy's muscle definition. Like, oh my goodness. Holy cow. That's insane right there. Like, holy, whose traps are those? Damn. Yeah, Wakataka not really fazed by that big slap, even though it allows Midorifuji to get right up underneath. He gets the head to the face and head inside, right there, pushing down, pushing forward, but he just doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the power to push Wakatakakage out. He is smaller than Wakatakakage. So Midorifuji getting the push right there, can't finish the kill shot, and Wakatakakage shifts back around towards the middle of the ring, and it was really quick, so you might have missed it, but he slapped with both hands down so he can try to well, that looks really crappy, but he basically brought both hands down this way so he can try to turn and deflect Midorifuji around to get him in a more unfavorable position. Now we can kind of see it. Feet are not square, hips are not square, shoulders are not facing the right way, whereas Wakataka, shoulders, hips, feet, all facing the enemy. So Wakataka gets himself in a better position here, and now it's his turn to start manhandling Midorifuji. Gets the nice slaps to the face, He's the one on the push forward now. And right here with this wide stance, oh, that artifacting sucks. He tries to go for a slap down pull. This is Midorifuji's special attack, by the way, which is really funny how Wakatakakage attempts it. I'm really brain farting on the name of it right now, but it's the Katasukashi. I'm 90% sure that's it. The pulling arm throwdown type thing. That's Midorifuji's move. But Wakataka, again, he slips backwards there. His foot was like right here and he slips back, and so he can't complete the attack. This is a slippery dohyo for Wakataka. But from here, he continues to maintain the pummeling and he gets the hand to the back of the head. Molotov asked, was it a slip or a slap down? The answer is both. So Wakataka gets the good slap down to the back of the head, like that's a solid blow. And if Midorifuji can't put his foot underneath him to counteract the force that's being pushed down, then he's gonna lose. And well, he stumbles to the side, he can't get that foot underneath him, and that's Wakatakakage's first win. And even then, it was a scrappy win that he did not look amazing in. So, like, there was a reason why we were not high on Wakatakakage, and it's because, truthfully, his best match so far was a loss on day 1. But day 4, he finally gets his first win, and you wouldn't expect to say that about someone who got the Jun-Yusho. Then again, we do live in strange times. I'm a little bit congested, so my voice might sound a little bit funny, because I played with a bunch of puppies today. We played with a bunch of husky puppies. They were so cute. Oh, shit, you're right. Thank you. Hide the Zune. Usually the Zune is behind everything else anyway, so I don't usually need to hide it. But thank you for pointing that out, Molotov. They don't have that on the YouTube side, which is the more important side, because that's the one that's going to keep the VOD. But yeah, I'm a little stuffy because I played with a bunch of husky puppies, and they were the cutest little things. But next, we're going to see Wakatakakage versus my man, Tobizaru, a flying monkey, 10-5 on the tournament. And this is another good rivalry as well. It's two guys that are similar sized, both really solid sumo. You can see Hakuho is on the commentary. Tobizaru, unusual. You can't say he really favors Oshi or Yotsu, because, you know, most of his attacks are like deflections, and I guess you would classify them as Oshi because he's not grappling the belt. But it's not your traditional Oshi. No, Tobizaru is quite unusual. Wakataka seems to have his number 7-4 in the head-to-head. Let's see how this match goes at full speed. Will the wily monkey have any tricks up his sleeve? Tobizaru gets lower, and Wakataka slips. Tobizaru immediately gets the inside right, but Wakataka goes for a pull to try to get Tobizaru off balance, and it works enough for Wakataka to get a push forward. And Wakataka is in a very advantageous position because he can't give up that outside to Tobizaru. He has inside right up underneath the armpit and the outside left on the belt, which is going to give him better leverage for throws, whereas if Tobizaru locks in the outside right at this point, he gives up the inside right to Wakatakakage. And we can see Wakataka, with that outside grip, is forcing a lot of control over Tobizaru. You would usually think the inside is better, but, you know, depending on the guy, Wakatakakage's outside left, that big bicep and tricep, that is dominating Tobizaru right now, and being able to have that right hand up in the armpit closer to the chest, that means he can manipulate the shoulders more for Tobizaru, and that's kind of exactly what he does. He brings up that forearm, which lifts up Tobizaru from underneath the armpit here. So, because this is a slower Yotsu match, which is exactly the opposite of what I said Tobizaru likes to do, then Tobizaru just kind of doesn't have it after this initial charge. He had a better charge here, I think. He's low. He's got his own big left foot. He doesn't slip back. In fact, Tobizaru is the one that initially pushes forward. And that's 5 days in a row that Wakataka's Tachi-ai has not been as good as it usually is. He slips on 4 of these 5 Tachi-ai. But Tobizaru gets the push forward and locks in the inside right. But now his challenge is to lock in the outside left. And that's the issue. Outside left, dangling, doing nothing. He's counting, he's twiddling his thumbs. He's, if anything, he can try to, touch Wakatakakage's weenus. But Wakatakakage, big bicep, big forearm. This is going to allow him to manipulate the shoulders by pushing up. And that's exactly what I said later. He has the outside left, which allows him to manipulate the hips by being able to, throw to the side or lift up. And he does the same thing with his right arm underneath the shoulder, the armpit. That gives him all the control he needs in these moments. And even though this is a long match, there's a lot of not much going on. Like right there, using that left outside, Wakataka attempted a pull. But Tobizaru caught himself, and then they reset back in this position where now Tobizaru, this is his time to try to snag the advantage because he has right hand on the wrist of Wakatakakage, and if he could take that inside right out of commission, and that's something we see a lot of, especially with Tobizaru. The Tobizaru Tamawashi match also had it, where they are, the Tobizaru Uda match had it, where they're like handsy at each other, and they're trying to like grab each other's wrist with the other hand and not letting it happen. Right here, Tobizaru has a grip on the wrist. So what can he do with that grip on the wrist? He can pull it up into the armpit himself and exert control over Wakatakakage's right inside arm by locking this big bicep and forearm around it, but that's not what he does here, and that's because Wakatakakage probably has the better, forearm strength, because that's what it comes down to. The entire match hinges on this right here. Is it going to be Wakatakakage putting his forearm up in a favorable position under the armpit, or is it going to be Tobizaru putting that forearm up in an unfavorable position? And it does matter, because there's a difference when you have your arm locked in place and you putting it there yourself. And I'll try to draw it out, but you have the chest of Tobizaru right there. There's his nipple. If he brings up the arm himself, he can lock the forearm around it. He's got the big bicep. He's got, the forearm right there. If he locks in the arm himself, then that means, this can't move. It can't wiggle. It can't do anything. But if it's Wakatakakage who gets the arm up in the chest, he's giving us a thumbs up, then that means Wakatakakage, his arm is going to be out here and dangling, and he can't do anything. He's like, oh no. And if this drawing helps you out enough, that's kind of what it means. And that's exactly what this battle is. Chicken winging versus an armbar. Yeah, exactly. So this is where Wakatakakage digs in the right arm, and now he's got Tobizaru chicken winging. Tobizaru doesn't have the arm locked like in his elbow pit, which would be favorable, and he can't control the elbow, because if he can control the elbow and straighten out the arm of Wakatakakage, then he could threaten like an arm breaker hold. But that's not what happens. Wakatakakage jumps up, he lifts his hips, and he lifts his shoulders at the same time. You can see they were like down here, but he props them up, leaps forward, tries to get that momentum he needs to dig in that grip a little bit deeper. Because if he can get his bicep up underneath the armpit, then it's pretty much game over, because that's a lot of control over Tobizaru's shoulders that he can get. And Tobizaru knows that, tries to wrestle it away, but it's still a favorable inside right for Wakataka. Tobizaru, you can see, He's trying to put it in a way where it's not favorable, but it's very difficult to do when you're already in a losing position. And then from here, Wakataka is just going to slow roll it, push it forward, left outside lifting up, right inside lifting the shoulders up. And he actually did eventually lock in that grip on the belt, and that's... I didn't see that at full speed, but locking in that grip on the belt, I mean, it's all over. He has the favorable grip, Wakatakakage, inside right on the belt, outside left. Tobizaru doesn't have the outside left, so he can't do anything about it. And that is the win for Wakatakakage. Wakatakakage earning that second win. Too quickly to try to promote him? I mean, yeah, you could say that. But at the same time, well, Mitakeumi was also promoted too quick. Shodai was promoted off of the back of a Yusho, and that's kind of what we were saying. If that was earlier in the stream, if Wakatakakage gets like a 13-2 or 14-1 Yusho, then he could be promoted come the new year, and I think they would want to do that because the current Ozeki class is so underwhelming, minus Takayasu sometimes. But that's another discussion we can have. Next up is going to be Wakatakakage versus Ichinojo on day 6. I was thinking after I do this breakdown too that I wanted to play the Banzuke guessing game, but I am slowly getting more tired by the second, so probably not going to do that after this breakdown. Because if it does drive, next up, Tobizaru Hoshoryu. Wakatakakage, Ichinojo. Ichinojo really falling asleep this tournament after winning the Yusho at the last one. Wakatakakage is about to earn his 3rd straight win and tie up the head-to-head against Ichinojo at 4-all. We had some apple cider. Kind of still want it though. Wakataka getting to the side of Ichinojo, that gets him a lot of leverage. That takes a lot of momentum out of Ichinojo's charge, who tries to go for that pull, like I just said in that last match, on that inside right. But Wakataka leaving his hips so far back that Ichinojo can't grab the belt, and because of that, Wakatakakage is able to full-bodied push out Ichinojo. We'll catch the end of this match. Again, really wide stance, and those little bunny hops forward too are what get him that win there. Keeping the stance wide, solid, and not letting his feet leave the ground for more than a split second. That gets him the frontal force he needs for the win. Gotta say, Ichinojo's performance makes me think the Yusho was a fluke. It's possible. Very possible. There have been a lot of, one and done Maegashira men who earned a Yusho and then never really did anything else. We thought Tamawashi was going to be one of those guys who was a Sekiwake and got his Yusho. But, we'll see with time. Again, right off the Tachi here, usually we see Wakataka take a big forward step with that left foot, but this time he goes out to the side and tries to get to Ichinojo's side so he can get that outside left immediately. Which Ichinojo, he takes a big stride forward too, and now he has to turn. He has a lot of body mass that now needs to change direction, and so he gets turned around and is able to re-square himself against Wakataka, except this right foot is not in a good position. So he needs to start backing up to regain that ground. And that means Wakatakakage, his opponent is retreating. He can push. Getting to the side of each. And this is where he tries to get that favorable position. You can see Wakataka, his hand is in a precarious spot right here, where he's controlling the elbow of Ichinojo on that inside right. And if he releases it, then Ichinojo gets that grip on the belt. And if he tries to get, well, the only reason why he would release it is to try to get the grip on the outside left, which is, a good grip to have. You don't want to give up your inside grip to someone as big as Ichinojo. So what does Wakatakakage do here? He's backing up his hips, and he's changing his grip so that he's around the forearm of Ichinojo. In backing up your hips, you make yourself harder to grab because you're literally further away. Unless you got, orangutan arms, you can't grab that belt. Mojo resisting the push now. Wakatakakage getting pulled by Ichinojo here. This is a pull attempt from Ichinojo, which I have to question why, because it looks like he's more or less just pulling Wakataka up into himself, which you could argue he's going to use this to try to get a grip on the belt now that Wakataka is much closer. But Wakataka uses that. He still had the left outside controlling that elbow of Ichinojo, and now you can see he gets a grip on the belt. Armbar throw, but he has to relinquish it though, because again, he doesn't want to give up that inside right to Ichinojo, and now he's doing that thing again where his hips very far back, so far away from Ichinojo, and it's not like he has T-Rex arms either. That's just like, you can't reach that. And Ichinojo has to hold him up so he can try to prop him up and then get to the belt later. But that chart looks a little bit different than what I was describing. But what's going to happen here is that Wakatakakage, again, going to control this left inside. And it's like I said again in that Tobizaru match. He's going to wrench his arm around Ichinojo's so that Ichinojo can't use it and then push forward for the win. For the push. Wakatakakage. You can see he's negating the inside left of Ichinojo by putting his own arm further inside, and now it looks like he has a double inside here. Ichinojo still has this grip around the arm, but it's so dug in deep that Wakataka basically has his shoulder in the armpit, and that gives him a lot of leverage to push forward. And then again, watch the feet down here. Watch the feet from Wakatakakage. They're gonna like push forward, and a little bit of artifact in there. Then he's gonna get like wider stance, which Ichinojo nearly does get the throw down here if he had a little bit more room, but he doesn't. And little hop forward to keep it underneath himself right there. Ichinojo taking that step out, and even if there was more room, he hops again to make sure that those feet stay underneath him. That big frog-legged stance really giving him all the stability he needs on that push out against Ichinojo. And that's Ichinojo going for a pull at the same time that Wakatakakage is pushing. So I think it's a bit of a misfire from Ichinojo at the same time as Wakatakakage recognizing what he can do to go on the attack. Also, speaking of me ending stream after this this breakdown happens, which we still have a good handful of matches to go, I need to wake up early to watch the Giants play in London against the Packers, which really freaking sucks. To wake up at goddamn 8 in the morning to watch football. I hate it. But hey, such is life under the Great Shogun. Sanayama and Keisho are the next Yokozunas. Anything else is a spur-of-the-moment promotion because Teru is clearly biding time for them. You're probably not wrong, but I don't think it's just limited to those two guys. I think you could easily throw someone like Wakatakakage or Takayasu into the, or not Takayasu, or like maybe Hoshoryu or Kotonowaka into the mix, and I don't think you would be wrong. But I do think most likely is obviously going to be Takayasu, if we can find this freaking Wakataka match. Alright, we have Wakatakakage versus Tamawashi. I don't think Takayasu has anything left to win the 2 consecutive tournaments. Sanayama maybe, but I think Wakataka has a better chance. That's true, and that's something we can discuss at a later time. Because, like I said, Wakatakakage breakdown, I want to keep the subject matter mostly on his matches. Although I do like to entertain the idea of who's the next Yokozuna. And really, it just comes down to consistency. If Wakatakakage starts winning on those first 3 days, he's Ozeki material. He will probably be Yokozuna material as well. But time will tell. Will he go 5-10 the next tournament? We don't know. The future Yokozuna is not Tochinoshin. Shut up, Twitch chat. But right here, we have Tamawashi versus Wakatakakage. Fun fact, Tamawashi lost to both Onami brothers in this Yusho run, and those were his only 2 losses. So here we have longtime veteran versus, I wouldn't call a young upstart now because he has definitely made a name for himself here. Wakatakakage and Tamawashi. Tamawashi getting down first. Tamawashi with the better Tachi-ai. Wakatakakage slipping and getting the throw to the side. And that is pretty much every single match so far this tournament that Wakatakakage has not had a favorable Tachi-ai. Except on the first day against Kotonowaka. That left foot slips every time. He slips backwards every single time this tournament. But he keeps his center, he keeps his footing, and throws Tamawashi to the side. Now, I think we'll just skip to the end of this match because it's just solid Tachi-ai right there. Tamawashi, hands to the throat. Wakatakakage, good defense though. He has his feet settled. He has his hips down and back. This is a good defensive stance to be in, and you can see he's parrying these attacks from Tamawashi. He's bringing his arms up in a way that will lessen the impact on his own face and, chest, because he's pushing Tamawashi up and away instead of just taking all of these blows head on. So now Tamawashi gets a little too excited here, tries to go for the chest-to-chest push-out, which I think if he kept to the Oshizumo at the edge, he would have succeeded a lot harder. But Wakatakakage, in this time, gets his favorite grip. Outside left, that's going for the belt. Inside right, already locked in around shoulder, up in the armpit. Tamawashi, that right arm is chicken winging again. It's not doing anything. It's just out there. I mean, his left arm, rather. Right arm inside. He's going to go for a throw here. But Wakatakakage shifts the momentum. And I said this in the Tamawashi breakdown last week. These toes go from facing this way to both turning nearly 90 degrees to pivot. Pivots the hips, pivots the shoulders, all at the same time, just goes, and then, whop, lets Tamawashi fall down to the ground. And how is he able to do that? Because he has a grip on the belt, and he's using that to get the pressure on Tamawashi's hips and throw him off to the side. And if he didn't have that grip on the belt, then sure, he does have the grip underneath the shoulder, but it's a combination of having the hips and this big pivot that turns him to the side, and that is a big win for Wakatakakage. And you can even see at the end, Wakataka had a hand on the shoulder as he threw. Actually, he didn't have a grip on the belt at all. I was wrong. The hand was completely square on the back, on the side, and that's what gave him a lot of the momentum for the push. It wasn't the belt throw at all. That's my mistake. Yeah, Wakatakakage, hand on the back, pushing Tamawashi to the side at the same time that he pivots. That's just a good throw at the edge right there. And then all of this is extra. Let's see, Wakataka needs to make more consistent win records. Yeah, that's what I said. He's struggling on the first days, yep. Notice that many of his matches push him to the edge of the dohyo too. He's really good at using the Tawada to endure and to pivot around. We said the same thing about Shodai. He's got good defense. Now look at him. Seems injuries plague him and he can't beat the number one with Terugan though. Who else till Asa's promoted? I think the closest thing we have is Wakatakakage. At the same time, we could go a long time without another Yokozuna, which I would be fine with because that would make things a lot more interesting. I think they'll rush to promote someone to Ozeki because Shodai and Mitakeumi. But I don't think they'll rush to promote someone to Yokozuna. Otherwise, Takayasu would have it already. Let's see. That is another Komusubi match. Uda versus Hoshoryu. Takayasu versus Takayasu. Let's see. He's against Mitakeumi tonight. I should have skipped closer to the end anyway. Wakatakakage versus Mitakeumi. So this is another matchup where Mitakeumi actually has the lead in the head-to-head 7-4. Three brothers. But we're going to see how and why Wakatakakage wins this match. Waka nodding Mitakeumi. Wakataka actually not pushed back immediately, but great defense there at the edge against Mitakeumi. That right foot going in on the knee to stop the attack from Mitakeumi, as now they resettle down inside, and this is breaking down like the Tobizaru match, where now Wakataka, using that inside right under the shoulder to get better positioning, nearly gets thrown on the inside right from Mitakeumi. But now he has the inside right, outside left. Mitakeumi needs to try to find a way to fight that off or get that outside left so he can match him chest to chest. But Wakatakakage has the head in the chest of Mitakeumi. So, you know, started off with great defense. More great defense from Wakatakakage, and now he needs to mount an offense if he wants to get the win here. I'm not going to skip ahead because I don't remember how long this match is just yet. But from here, Mitakeumi really does not have a good look. Like, Wakataka has the inside right, outside left. He's lower, the hips are lower, the head is down in the chest. Wakataka just needs to pick up Mitakeumi just like that and then try to push forward. Mitakeumi attempting to switch the grip to the inside, Wakataka not letting it happen, and that's the Yorikiri for Wakatakakage. So way back in the Stone Ages, at the start of this match, I said that Wakatakakage was not immediately forced back off of this Tachi-ai. That is twice in these 8 days so far that he did not have an immediately losing Tachi-ai. But he does eventually get forced back by Mitakeumi, which, again, you're going to need to watch this defense. We're just going to skip right to it. He brings the left foot back perfectly onto the Tawada. Like, that's fantastic ring awareness. That's incredible ring awareness. To be able to perfectly place your foot on the Tawada from, you know, a disadvantageous position in the middle of the ring. And then he's going to use this right foot and bring it up into the leg of Mitakeumi to get some forward balance and some forward momentum so he doesn't immediately get pushed out by Mitakeumi. That also stops up Mitakeumi from being able to push this left leg forward, and he can't take that step because now Wakatakakage is just basically stopping that charge, stopping the advance with this big right knee inside. And that's fantastic defense. The foot on the Tawada, the knee inside the thigh. It's really, really good defense at this point. From here, you know, he's still struggling on the defense. Now he's leaning his upper body forward as he used that leg to, like, you saw him swing the leg like a pendulum so he can push his upper body forward. He swung the leg forward and then brought it back so he could swing the upper body forward and get the forward momentum he needed to push himself back off of the Tawada and push Mitakeumi forward. And that's how they get back into the middle of the ring here. Mitakeumi, though, he had a good arm around Wakatakakage right there, but Wakataka just slips it deeper inside, because usually you want to stop it up by the elbow right here, and that's kind of what Mitakeumi has. But Wakataka just digs it in deeper as Mitakeumi lets go of the grip for just a second. And as we get into this Yotsu, Mitakeumi really lazy on that left arm and on that left hip. Like, you could see Mitakeumi was trying to wiggle that left hip away, but nothing really happens there because he let Wakatakakage in on that left inside. Lets Wakatakakage get that right inside, and this is where we get to see Wakatakakage's offense in this attempted push forward, which does not work out at the end because we're going to see another fantastic defense. Like, I don't know how Waka survives this, but you can see he's getting thrown here at the edge, and Mitakeumi, he has the grip on the belt, but it's getting lifted up in a weird way where he doesn't have, you know, this second layer that would have given him more force. And his shoulders, like, aren't too into it, too. Like, if he wanted this throw a bit stronger, that's when he would, like, you know, kakenage, lift up the leg, try to go for a more, you know, unorthodox throw. Probably try to left go with that left arm as well to, you know, let Wakatakakage fall forward, but Wakataka stops it up again. And I think that's more of a this is a missed attack from Mitakeumi than it is a good defense from Wakatakakage here, because you could see this grip on the belt is kind of strange. And it's something I brought up before, and it's something I've seen in like Sumopedia videos. He has a grip on the outside layer of the belt, which means he doesn't have a grip on the full belt. If he had the grip locked in down here, then these hips and this luscious booty of Wakatakakage goes up into the air and flies out of the ring. But because he only has this grip on the outer layer of the belt, he doesn't have as much control over these hip bones of Wakatakakage. So it's harder for him to get this throw because he has less control. So getting a good throw attempt there, but Wakataka, you know, again, tippy toes on the Tawada. You can see it right over there. Tippy toes on the Tawada, stopping up that defense again, throwing in this back leg into the leg of Mitakeumi to stop it up. And then from here, we just have long stalemated Yotsuzumo, where we have to wonder, how can Mitakeumi get out of this position? Because Wakatakakage has double belt grip. Of course, it's not the super ideal belt grip, but it is exactly what he wants to have.
Wakatakakage will win in the long game. This is going to be very technical no matter how much they slow it down.
And again, I forget how much time it took to get there.
Are indeed stalemated. There is no way to really push in.
But once we get there, it'll be easier to break down the last stage of the fight. These guys just stalemating, trying to catch their breath again.
Standing still for a good like 20-30 seconds now.
Wakataka goes on the push here. Wakataka lifts up the belt. And you can see, like I just said before, he has the grip on both layers of the belt. So he can easily lift up these hips of Mitakeumi. Those hips don't lie, baby. Out the outside right, a little less so, but because Mitakeumi, and this is always a killer move, like it does not work 80% of the time. Mitakeumi tries to switch the grip inside, and Wakatakakage pulls in this elbow, so he blocks it with the forearm, and Mitakeumi can't get inside. Because of that, Mitakeumi lost all momentum he had on the outside for nothing. Wakatakakage pushes forward, and holy cow, did you see his shoulder muscles right there?
20-30 seconds now.
And that's the real reason why we watch sumo wrestling. Holy cow, look at, oh my god, look at that muscles. Jesus! And that's why Wakatakakage wins, because he eats that creatine. He's got that protein power. You can easily see the gaijin under it. No, that's me. Yeah, that was a really good push from Wakataka. Mitakeumi trying to switch the grip. That's always a death knell. Almost always a death knell. You don't usually see people able to pull it off. Big fan of Ishizaki. I do love Ishizaki, yeah. I was going to say, who's Bakari, but Kotote Bakari, right? Day 9, we have against Nishikigi, who I think he was way overpromoted and didn't deserve to be at this rank. So here we go, Nishikigi, Wakatakakage.
After Nishikigi.
False start from Wakatakakage. Waka getting the right hand inside, and this is the third match where he doesn't lose off the Tachi-ai, and that's why he wins the match, because he wins off the Tachi-ai. So Wakataka has been struggling this tournament to get a good Tachi-ai for himself, and this is the best one he's had all tournament. Big left foot forward, right hand up to the throat right here, and he's going to sneak that inside. Left hand, you kind of can't see it, but I have to assume it's also up and inside. Wakataka getting that right hand inside underneath the shoulder And here, I think it's just more power than Nishikigi. He's pushing up, like he's lowering his hips, and then he's pushing up full-bodied, as well as you're going to see his feet shuffling and hopping forward, so he can keep his entire body square, square, square against his opponent. And it's just everything working in tandem. He pushes the hips up, which pushes the shoulders up into his opponent, and he's going to move the feet forward little by little until Nishikigi is eventually out of the ring here. Even though Nishikigi attempts to wrench him to the side, it's a really quick, easy, and solid win from Wakatakakage because he actually won the Tachi. Wow. He's had a rough time of it this tournament. Oh. Spilled some water on my chair. That was truthfully his first, very good win of the tournament. It came against a much weaker opponent in Nishikigi, who ended 6-9, which truthfully is much better than I thought he would do this tournament. But I think that's enough about this match in particular. It's very quick, very simple. Wakataka inside right, favorable Tachi, better Tachi, more power, perfect stance, perfect offense. Really strong win for Wakataka. Next up, day 10 is his match against Uda.
Annoying when now that you can't agree on the name change idea. Fan towels is just like belt and never.
Let's see, Wakataka versus Uda. What do you think the reason is Wakataka has a rough time on his first few days? He just needs a couple of warm-up games, just a couple of warm-up matches. I don't know. I don't know if it's a mental block, which, I can't exactly ask him hey, why do you think you'll lose on the first 3 days? Because I don't live in Japan. And even if I did, I doubt they would give me an interview with him. But truthfully, it could just be he needs warm-up matches. It could be something as silly as that. I don't think there needs to be a deeper explanation for it either. Because there is Mitakeumi is worse on week 2. Probably because stamina issues, or he gets inside his own head. Whereas the first few days of a tournament, it's gotta be, he's warming up. I feel like that's the only good, reasonable explanation. Wakatakage versus Uda. Uda getting low, but Wakataka trying to prop him up. You can see that right hand is trying to prop up the left of Uda's, and he uses that to get inside. Nearly wins on the push out, but pulls back and lets Uda roll. So right here off the Tachi again, Wakataka does something unusual here. He doesn't take a big left foot and then try to stance up. He actually slides this right foot forward as well. And I wish I could go backwards frame by frame, but he slides that right foot and it looks really funny. Watch this real quick. Just watch that right foot. He's going to leap forward with the left and slide with the right. He slides that right foot forward, and he uses that to meet Uda at Uda's usual backwards defensive stance. And right here, I set it at the full speed. This right hand is going to be important because it is going to push up this left arm of Uda, so much so that Uda can't resist it getting eventually pushed so far up that he just opens up and gives up his chest. That's the pivotal right arm right here. Uh-oh, he's giving us an okay sign. He's a white supremacist, guys.
He usually is.
But he gives us that right arm underneath the elbow. And Uda is trying to keep that elbow inside so he can control Waka from the inside. But Waka knows this and is countering by putting a lot of force up into that arm so he can get inside Uda.
prop him up
and it takes a little bit of effort, and he even like comes into an unfavorable stance here, like that left foot poking out a little too far forward, a little stood up right here, but you can kind of tell that he's concentrating all of his effort into raising this arm so he can get that push. And then when he finally does, immediately slips that right arm inside. Right arm inside on the belt. Uda, he actually attempts a Katasakashi quickly right here. And even though it doesn't work, this is the flow of battle at work yet again. You pull, you push, you pull, you push to rock your opponent off balance. He attempted Katasakashi, and within the same second, he recognizes it's not going to work. So then he puts this left arm back up on the chest, pops Uda up, and then eventually, after the big push to the edge of Uda, he's going to let him tumble and roll down. So big push from Waka here. You know, double inside against a man the same size as you, pushing up chest to chest, and I feel like even if he tried going chest to chest, he wouldn't have been turned to the side. His stance is fine, his hips a little high, but this is where he opts to pull back, and you can get a nice camera flash there. I really want this picture, whoever took this picture right here. And Uda is going to be sent tumbling because, again, it's the pull from the Katasakashi into the push to the edge into the pull down right here.
Edge thrown and spun down. Doing a little somersault right there on the
that was called a Tsukui Nage.
7-3.
Yeah, just a really solid win there from Wakatakakage. You can't really say he won the Tachi because Uda is always far back like that. And it was relatively even at the very start, but again, that right hand, getting to the outside, getting to that tricep, just pushing, like, look at all this force. Look at his muscles again, just putting all that force into that right hand. Like, it doesn't really matter what the left hand is doing either. I also see another camera flash here. I want that picture too. Uda has a great stance. Wakatakakage's stance isn't perfect. Whoopsies, that was loud. Thank you for the follow over on the Twitch side to the Gambino family. That anti-Italian discrimination I see. Uda, trying to get the push forward, has to give up that right inside. And this is where he stumbles forward because of the pull, stumbles backwards because of the push, and then falls on his head because of another pull.
Somersault right there on the dirt. Wakatakakage 7-3.
Full control from Wakatakakage as we move into day 11. At this point of the tournament, Wakatakakage is on a crazy win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And today it's going to be extended against Hoshoryu, who is his opponent. A fantastic rivalry that I can only hope to see more of once we get there. Kotonowaka, I love seeing him at the top of the Banzuke, Daisho. Here we go, Wakataka and Hoshoryu. That was a replay from yesterday.
False start from Wakataka.
Well, the 22-year-old unseen technique and gets mauled.
That'll be me.
To Taizori. Oh yeah, Uda's technique? Let's actually check that. Against Takarafuji. Tsutaizori. Yep. He's attempted it several times. I don't know how many times he's actually pulled it off. But anyway, back to Wakataka. Again, another really awesome rivalry that I want to see more of. Wakataka versus Hoshoryu. Two guys roughly the same size. Could both be Chiyonofuji tier Yokozunas in their lifetime here. Wakataka with a better initial charge, and he gets the win. Just right off of it. That big, solid right hand straight to the chest and ribcage of Hoshoryu. Hoshoryu could not resist the push at all. And he attempted a last-second ditch effort slap down of some sort, but Wakataka, big stance, big feet underneath him, and that's kind of what you need to watch in this match, is Wakatakakage's feet. They stay underneath him, big left foot off the Tachi, shifts that right foot forward again. Big right step foot forward, but then he's going to switch the feet up really quick with that little hop right there. Perfect stance right now. He's stanced up against Hoshoryu. And again, this is the third match all tournament where he has a good Tachi. Right hand straight to the chest. Left hand outside controlling Hoshoryu's arm. Hoshoryu trying to put up the big defense, but it's just not working. As Hoshoryu tries the slap down, but Wakatakakage, watch the feet again, hops forward. Instead of trying to bring one foot around, he hops both feet forward and pushes through Hoshoryu.
That'll be like 80 years from now. Wakatakakage versus Hoshoryu. Nice.
So this was just a fantastic, just another like, that was his best match since Nishikigi. This is his best match all tournament. Just complete dominance right there. Perfect hand to the chest. Left hand out to parry, right hand inside at the rib cage. Pushing forward with all of that might, and Hoshoryu couldn't do anything about it. Like, that's insane. You're not wrong, Distort. We were very ruined by and spoiled by having Hakuho around. Haku will hone his hot muscles and technique, and I hope Hoshoryu will get bigger. Yeah. I think that is what Hoshoryu is missing, some intensity. I think that's what a lot of these guys kind of are missing, is they're not very intense, and they're not, like... Takayasu can get violent with those slaps. I can't really say I've seen Wakatakakage or Hoshoryu, like, put full force into a thrust or something like that before. Came in late, only been watching 4 years. Me too, I've only been watching for like 3 years myself. Let's see, the next match is Wakatakakage's first loss since day 3 against Takayasu. Oh, we skipped it. Here we go. Full speed. Wakatakakage versus Takayasu. A rivalry happening here as well, but it's a bit one-sided. Wakatakakage is 8-3 in the head-to-head. The third win for Takayasu coming right here. You would think, oh, this could be another easy win for Wakataka, and Wakataka could have competed for the Yusho against Tamawashi, but that was not meant to be, and Takayasu would ruin those hopes.
Is in the race, one win behind.
The Rikshi are pretty stoic, no sense of urgency. Yeah, you're not wrong, Nick. I don't think you're wrong about that. Wakataka getting a big forearm to the face from Takayasu, and Takayasu controlling Wakataka with a lot of solid Oshizumo, and that's the push into the pull down, like I've been talking about all breakdown. But we'll take it step by step from the start. Right here, boom. Huge elbow forearm combination from Takayasu, and I really hate this WWE style zoom in, but you get a good picture here. Boom. Forearm to the face of Wakatakakage. Bounces backwards because now Takayasu follows up and to the throat. Wakataka, like, this right arm is trying to parry like he did against Uda, but Uda, he doesn't do a lot of the slappy stuff like Takayasu's going to do right now. He's going to keep going boom, boom. You can see that right hand back there. He's going to go boom right to Wakatakakage's face. And even if it is a little like he doesn't know where to put it, you know Takayasu wants to continue to control from the upper body, from the head, from the face. And that right arm from Takayasu is kind of flailing about while Wakatakakage is slowly getting value out of this parry here. Sure, the hand is still to the face, but he's pushing that arm up and away, and he wants to push Takayasu to the side so he can get to the belt. But that's not what's going to happen here, because we already saw it. Takayasu has begun retreating so he can re-stance himself. You saw him hop those feet real quick, and now he's going back on the charge forward. Gets some more good hands to the face, and this time Wakataka actually deflects it to the side, but Takayasu, you know, he's a big old veteran. He knows exactly what he's doing. You letting the dog out? Okay. Wakataka is going up against a big veteran that knows what he's doing, and this is something I've talked about a lot. You know, his stance is square, the foot is coming forward, shoulders square, eyes kind of can't see them, but they're on the prize, and they are locked in on Hoshoryu right now. Hoshoryu. On Wakatakakage right now. Wakataka is the one on the retreat, and he's trying to go for a slap down side to the face. Takayasu is going to pursue right here. Just so many solid thrusts straight to the throat. Another one coming straight to the chest. Another straight to the throat. Takayasu in full control. Wakataka on the retreat. And you can see Wakataka is going to try to parry again with this left arm coming up underneath. But, oops, artifacting there. Takayasu is going to continue the push forward. He pulls back the arm just enough that he can replant a hand to the face. And again, this is where Takayasu is pushing so hard forward. Wakatakakage is trying to resist that push forward so hard. He's got that back lean. He's pushing forward. He's trying to resist, and then pull him down by the face. The push and the pull, the flow of the battle. When your opponent wants to push, you can pull and let him fall onto his own hands and knees.
Takayasu with a strong forearm up high. Wakataka fighting it off.
Wakataka was on the defense the whole time, and, you know, it sounds corny to say, but, you know, his weakness is having a hand to the face. It's like kind of anybody's weakness would be, you know? Wakatakakage really can't withstand that attack, and even though he did try to get that parry, like I said earlier, and we can see it again here at the very start of the match, he has the right hand up underneath the armpit, but it was just too much forward momentum to start with from Takayasu. And Takayasu kept on pushing forward, and even though this left hand did come loose, you know, he just kept on the assault.
Wakataka fighting it off with Takayasu. Nearly stumbles, but
and he couldn't do anything about the Oshizumo. Wakataka does not have as good an Oshizumo game as Takayasu, and Takayasu took perfect advantage of that. Nice indoor, but dependence on pushing into the Tawada converted into forward motion when Papa pulled. Yeah, exactly. Bear, no. I'm gonna smack you, Bear. I'm not gonna leave him alone. Next match. Well, that was Wakatakakage's final loss of the tournament. His next match is going to be against another Ozeki, Takayasu.
Not really enough. See? And then you either respond.
That's Shodai Mita. I don't care about this one. Takayasu Wakatakakage. What breed is Bear? He's a husky. Apparently named as such because he looked like a baby bear when he was a puppy.
Very hardcore. To get me monetization.
I just went and played with some husky puppies today, and I want them so bad.
Opening up a second revenue stream is pretty cool.
Oldie. She's gold. He looks like a golden husky. Yeah, no, he's a very quiet husky. He was trained to not be talkative because he is a service dog. The other husky puppies, they were very talkative, and they were so cute, and they bit me up and down my arms so much. It was funny. Wasn't this right after Taka did the henka the day before? That is true. Right. There's nothing to break down about this match. It's a henka from Wakatakakage. Well, at least Wakataka's making my job easier. This breakdown has been one of the fastest so far. Yeah, this is just going to be straight Henka from Wakataka. Pop.
Henka for Wakatakakage. This tournament.
This line is famous.
Takayasu Wakatakakage for pride. Henka for Wakatakakage. And I doubt any of you motherfuckers are gonna be mad about that.
Because a lot of people were pissed about Takakesho's Henka, and that's why I said that. Nobody's gonna be mad if Wakatakakage Henkas. Let's be real. You have to break down if he Henkas to the right or to the left. You're not wrong. Well, I mean, we've said it all tournament. Wakatakakage is going to lead with the big left foot forward. And just like he did earlier in this tournament against Ichinojo, he's going to slide it to the left instead of going directly forward. And that's going to allow him
for pride
to just stand up and slap down.
Henka for Wakatakakage. And I doubt any of you motherfuckers are gonna be mad about that.
I am so good with my quotes.
Henka man, but even then, he's only won via one Henka this tournament. Takayasu Wakatakakage for pride.
Nice split there from Takayasu too. That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that these sumo wrestlers are incredibly flexible. Takayasu could sit in a perfect split if he wanted to. Just because they're fat doesn't mean they're not athletic. Yeah, Henka from Wakatakakage, expertly done. Not really too much else to say about that. And I doubt any of you motherfuckers were mad about that. Day 14, going up against Hokutofuji, who was in the Yusho race, which is why they gave him such a difficult opponent. And you can even quote me on it earlier in the tournament. Once Hokutofuji starts fighting against more difficult opponents, he's going to start losing. And that is exactly what he did. See, that's Takayasu. Daisho. Here we go. Yeah, no, Henka is not a move you can do often, but it is incredibly effective, which is why you can't remove Henka from the sport. Because it's a type of skill check, basically. That's the way I describe it, is that Henka is a skill check. And the reason why I think that is because back when Terunofuji won his Yusho while Asanoyama was still around, in the top division at least, the Sumo Association was very upset at Asanoyama because he fell for a Henka against Terutsuyoshi. And they explained an Ozeki should be good enough to defeat a Henka. And I kind of agree. If you're a good enough sumo wrestler, you should be able to see a Henka coming and be able to sniff it out and be able to counter it. But, you know, Takayasu, he's very susceptible to Henka because of his full body charging technique. So you would think he would be more willing to let it up a bit more often, considering he's so easy to Henka. But yeah, that's enough about that. Hokutofuji is another fantastic Henka target, by the way, but Wakatakakage is not going to do that twice in a row. Oh, false start from Waka. Oops. Big charge, but Wakataka actually wins the Tachi here. That's the fourth time this tournament he does it. Locks in the inside right on the belt, and that is all she wrote. You can see, again, right there, locking in that right hand on the belt, pushing forward, chest to chest. Hokutofuji can't do anything about it. That knee gets really low, and I think that's the lowest we see this knee get all tournament. Like, that was dangerously close to touching the dirt right there. But again, big left foot from Wakatakakage, right foot back, And this time, it looks like he's lowering his leg even more so that there's more force and friction against a potential being pushed back. Whereas Hokutofuji, he actually goes high here. Hokutofuji is going higher than he usually does off of this Tachi-ai, and because of that, Wakatakakage is able to get the inside right really fast and actually has his head lower and is able to get that down into the chest. So because of all of this, really quickly, Hokutofuji already on the defense starts to pull back, and now he's trying to do the thing that Wakatakakage was doing to his opponents, where he's got the right hand on that tricep, and he's going to try to deflect his arm using that as his tool. But because Hokutofuji is already on the retreat, on the defense, Wakataka, all he needs to do is keep his stance up, and even if he does give up this outside left to Hokutofuji, if he can lock in this inside right, that's what's going to get him the good belt. And another error here from Hokutofuji is his stance. He is trying to go for the outside left so he could possibly go for a throw, but square, not so square, not so square. Well, they're all square, but they're facing the crowd. They're not facing Wakatakakage. They're facing, you know, that guy in the pink shirt, probably because Hokutofuji is a bull, and if he sees anything remotely close to red, he wants to charge through it. Except you can't do that to the Gyoji because then you'll get out. So he sees that guy in pink and he's like, and he's about to get El Toro'd. But Hokutofuji gives up the inside right really quickly there as he tries to wiggle his hips backwards. He kind of slips those feet back, but it doesn't matter as he hops forward. Now he has the big left foot forward. Wakataka has his stance. Now they're all squared up on each other, but Wakataka has the inside right. Not locked in just yet, but Hokutofuji doesn't have a good outside left. He's not locking it in by the elbow or the forearm, making it useless. He's letting Wakatakakage slip inside, and I see what he's doing here. He's trying to cut across the body so he can completely deny the outside right from being as useful as it is, while also shifting his hips back so he doesn't get grabbed right here, but he does. And it's kind of a little too late moment where he's trying to throw his body in a way that is defensive, but it just kind of gives up more offense to Wakataka here. Because then Hokutofuji wrenches that arm from inside all the way back up, and now he's on the defensive with the outside again. So kind of makes no sense that he put his arm in that way in the first place. And because of that, double inside, don't really need to explain a double inside again, but a double inside, so it gets the win for Wakatakakage. One more time at full speed, both of them in the silver belts. Wakataka inside right, Hokutofuji giving up the double inside, and Hokutofuji gets kicked out of that Yusho race on day 14. Final match, and a lot of people, I mean, I've seen nobody argue that this is true, but one could argue that this is a kind of throwaway match between, let's see, Wakatakakage and Sadanoumi. Like, sure, they both have very good winning records, but if you want to check out the Banzuke after day 14, like, some of the other highest ranked people that Wakatakakage could possibly face, he either already faced, are his brother, or don't have good records. And they need to go up against another 7-7. So his possible opponents, he's already fought in like Daisho, Ichinojo, Midorifuji, Nishikigi. Like, he's not going to fight Aoyama. He wasn't going to fight Shodai because he's the Ozeki and needs to fight Takayasu in the Musubi no Ichiban on the final day. It could have threw him against Takarafuji, but that would have really been a free win. So, like, his only challenging possible opponent here at this point is Sadanoumi, who already had a winning record. He's not going to fight Ryuden. They would not make him fight Ryuden. He can't fight Takayasu, can't fight Tamawashi. Just beat Hokutofuji. Can't fight Takayasu, Tobizaru, Wakamoto Haru. Can't fight those guys. Can't fight Kiribayama Kotonowaka. Myogiryu is way too low. Takanosho is way too low. Endo also lower than Sadanoumi. So realistically, Sadanoumi on the Banzuke at this time was the best possible opponent for him. And again, I didn't see anyone say this, but I've said it about Shodai before, and so I know that it is something that someone could say about Wakatakakage. This is definitely a give me match to give him that 11th win. And we could say favoritism from the JSA because they've shown it with Shodai, having him dodge the Yokozuna on multiple occasions. We could say, you know, they do want to accelerate him to Ozeki, but realistically, Sadanoumi is his only opponent. Forgot about Ryuden. Yeah, no, he snuck into the Jun-Yusho as well. He finished off with 9 straight wins, or 10 straight wins, I think. It was pretty cash money. But yeah, like, realistically, this was the only other strong opponent that you could have in the final 3. Because again, they're not going to put him up against Ryuden, who, you know, he had the same record against, and I guess they could have in order to cut down the number of possible Jun-Yusho contenders. But like, this is a much more exciting match. 10-4, 9-5. They're both really good. They're both high ranked. So that's the reason why this match exists. And that's enough of over-analyzing this match. Oh wait, that was a replay. Wakatakakage versus Sadanoumi. Sadanoumi tries to get the inside right and gets the better push, but he those arms just went too high, and that allowed Wakatakakage the double inside.
Actually getting the better of the push, but Wakatakakage with more control.
Yeah, like I said in the live, Wakatakakage with more control. Sadanoumi had the better push, but Sadanoumi, those arms just go a little bit too high, and Wakatakakage just gets double inside. Makes it easy.
Here we go.
Right there, big left foot for Wakataka, right hand up to the face, not to the chest that you usually see. But Sadanoumi, this is where his good push starts. Left hand inside so he can deflect the elbow of Wakatakakage. So because he's deflecting that elbow, he's able to get the better start, because that takes a lot of momentum and force out of Wakatakakage's initial charge. Now, Sadanoumi follows up with, you know, an attempt at the belt, an outside left that's inside, so you can try to block off Wakatakakage's inside right by going so far inside that Wakatakakage has no choice but to either pull it outside or keep that arm inside on the defense. And he's going to opt for the defense, and it's going to pay off, because here's Sadanoumi. He has this right hand up high, like kind of up in the chest. You can't really tell from this angle, but you're going to see it in the next few seconds. He has it up high, and because it's up high, he allows Wakataka to slide in double inside around the back with the belt. And Sadanoumi, I don't know if this is just a thing a lot of veterans do, but I see Tochinoshin do it a lot. He goes for a wrap around the back of the head, and he's going to try to use that to throw down, but it's not going to work because he's putting all of his force up high and pushing with the shoulders and basically giving up his hips, and his feet are not underneath him. So because he's pushing high chest to chest, like, this is something you usually see Takanosho do when his opponent is at the edge of the ring already. Like, this is I'm trying to kill you at the very edge move, but Sadanoumi doing it way early in the middle of the ring, that just gives up all of the control to Wakatakakage here. And even though Sadanoumi has a pretty good left arm on the shoulder, right hand around the head, and he's going to try to wrench Wakatakakage this way, like, he just doesn't have any control anywhere outside of that head area, where the most important places are going to be this waist and the base. And his base did catch up to him. Wakatakakage has the grip around the back, and he's going to be the one to throw Sadanoumi to the side, and he actually steps out right here. But they don't call it immediately, and Wakatakakage pushes forward for the win. So, very quick match, more defense from Wakatakakage. Again, didn't win this Tachi-ai. He slips back at the Tachi-ai again, but because Sadanoumi gives up the double inside, he's very easily thrown when he's the one trying to do the throw. So that was the 11th win for Wakatakakage. You think Sada's hand slipped and that caused him to go for the head wrap? Well, let's check.
Here we go.
Full speed.
Nice charge for Sadanoumi, actually getting the better of the push.
Debatable. Because it looked like he had the hand on the shoulder and then he wrapped it. Like, purposefully. Like, you're gonna see it right here. It might have slipped up the arm. Let's try to see it again.
Here we go. Nice charge for.
It's like right here, you can kind of see the hand up on the shoulder. And Wakatakakage is getting that right hand underneath to try to pull it up. So it's probably a combination of that. Like, Wakatakakage is parrying the outside right by pulling up on the arm like he did to Uda, causing it to slip up, and that's why he opts for the wrap around the head. So, good defense from Wakataka there. Because it looks like, yeah, it looks like Sadanoumi basically accepts the fact that his right arm outside push to the shoulder is going to get parried, and so he goes, okay, I'll just wrap it around the head. Right there. And then he gets thrown for it. So, that was Wakatakakage's 11th win of the tournament. Jun-Yusho. Some people are saying that with 13 wins, he could make it to Ozeki. Other people in my chat were saying that even if he does make it, he needs to show more consistency because that's the kind of promotion Mitakeumi got. That's the kind of promotion that, you know, Shodai got, and we don't want to see more inconsistency at the top. And I kind of agree that I want to see Wakataka basically get it with 11-4, 11-4, 11-4, and not 8-7, 11-4, 14-1, because to be streaky like that kind of sucks. Yeah, no, this dude's shoulders are insane. I want his workout regimen. I need shoulders like that. I need to start doing pull-ups. Damn. Yeah, no, that was a final match from Wakatakakage. And I do believe he can make it to Ozeki. I do believe he can make it to Yokozuna. Will he be the next Yokozuna? I don't know. Will he be the next Ozeki? Most likely candidate right now, because as some people have pointed out, and as history has told, you don't need 33 wins exactly to get Ozeki. Some people have gotten it with 32. Some people have gotten it with 30. Some people have missed it with 33, and some people have missed it with 34. So it is a bit more open to interpretation who deserves Ozeki and who will be earning it. But Wakatakakage, with this Jun-Yusho, and possibly another Jun-Yusho, whether it's a maybe not a 12 win, because that would only be 31. But if it's 13 or 14 wins, I could make an argument for Ozeki Wakatakakage. Ozeki Wakatakakage. But yeah, overall, good performance from him. If he can pull together those first 3 days, and if he at least wins one of his matches on those first 3 days, then, you know, this tournament's completely different. He's 12-3, or maybe even higher. But, you know, you can't deal in too many what-ifs, because then we get a lot of shitty conversations that don't amount to anything, and it's basically just a huge waste of time. But, yeah, no. Big tournament from Wakatakakage. 2 more minimum at this level gets him Ozeki. I would like to see another Wakatakakage Yusho. Definitely not opposed to that. I would prefer if it were like another 11 or 10 wins and then another 11 or 10 in January. But again, we'll see. I think Ryuden was 11-4 in September. Yeah, Ryuden was also 11-4. He got the Jun-Yusho, but they don't usually count an Ozeki push if you start that low. Like, Ryuden is probably going to be pushed up to maybe Maegashira 4 or 3, depending, which next week, because I will be starting stream earlier at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can convert that to your own clocks, because I forget all the other conversions. I think it's 8 a.m. Japanese time and 11 p.m. UTC. But next week, I will be doing another breakdown, maybe multiple breakdowns, as well as playing the Banzuke guessing game. where we will guess who will fall where on the Banzuke. And that will be happening at 6 p.m., not the usual 10 p.m., because I want to try to get on a different schedule that works better with my sleep and work. So that is going to be happening next week on Sumo Saturday. Will I be streaming tomorrow on Sunday? I don't know. It basically comes down to if I feel like it, because I have to wake up early to watch some football tomorrow, which I don't know if we'll be watching that in my Discord. I've been trying to get football watch parties up and running in my Discord, which if you can find a link to in the description down below. But not too many people are into American football, which we might do it for the World Cup, because World Cup is cool, and that'll be happening in the holiday season. I think it's right after the Basho ends too, or it like starts the last few days of the Basho. So hopefully we can do watch parties of that as well. But that will be it from me on the YouTube side, at the very least. On Twitch we have to do a little bit more. But thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this breakdown of Wakatakakage. Remember, the new schedule is going to be starting at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time to try to better match up to my fiance's work schedule and to give me more hours to sleep at night. It's not going to change the future sumo schedules, because that runs on Sumo Time, and Sumo Time is a different universe than the one that we currently live in. So thank you very much for joining this breakdown. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe, and especially rewatch this VOD. Go watch my other videos, because what I need on YouTube are watch hours to get monetized and hopefully make some more money through YouTube. That is also why I've started streaming on YouTube between Basho, so I can get those watch hours, get monetized, and hopefully make some more money. So thank you very much. I'll be catching you cats later.